All right.
All right, everyone. We're back. Craig's back. Trix is back. Rillin's back. Me, Dominic, I'm also back. No more mini episodes for us for the moment. Trix has always been here. Trix never leaves.
No.
Trix haunts the Discord channel at all times, waiting for us to pop on.
Pretty much. I have notifications on for the whole thing.
As we all do. So.
Nope.
Episode 6. The real episode 6. Technically episode 8, but it's 6.
Not Minisode 1, not Minisode 2.
Just like to point out that we're slowing down this intro so that we can stretch out to an hour and 30 minutes because there's nothing to talk about with these albums.
Oh, this was
a
grand experiment of ours to.
Anyway, this has been a Dissonant Waves podcast.
2019 albums. We have 3 albums to talk about: LSD, Petite League's Rattler, Bag Raiders Horizons, Zero Dawn, etc., etc. Yeah. Who wants to go first? Because this is really interesting.
Nah, we're gonna go with LSD first. I want to get the bagging out of the way.
Yeah, I figured we could do that.
First, I just want to apologize.
That's never a good sign.
I'm just gonna start with probably everyone's thoughts on this album. Probably a bit exaggerated, but nonetheless. I listen to a shit ton of albums a year, just out of a hobby. No real bragging about it. It's just a hobby. That's what I assume most of us do. And this isn't just the worst album that I've heard that we've done on this podcast. This is the worst album I've heard this year. It sucked. I want to make a real big joke right now. Usually I do that. Usually I make a real shitty comic relief. But this album's just bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to be completely honest. I enjoyed it more than I probably should.
I was very interested in doing this just because I had heard about it. I was really curious what it was. I really like Sia's voice. I think she's a great singer.
No, Sia has an absolutely lovely voice when she decides to sing.
As we dove into this, I watched Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman has a track on the credits that is Labyrinth and Sia, which actually isn't bad. And so it was like, okay.
No, all 3 of these members of this band have immense talent.
Yeah.
Diplo is one of the most prolific mainstream producers out there. I'm not so much knowledgeable about Labyrinth, however, I've heard some of the collaborations he's done, and I've enjoyed some of them, especially his collaboration with The Weeknd, the track's Losers. And Sia, obviously, she's one of the most popular acts to come from Australia. Of course I know who she is. And she's put out some stuff that's fucking amazing. Chandelier, despite... I know I'm not a big into mainstream tracks and everything, but Chandelier was an amazing tune. Fucking Breathe Me I'm still that fucking edgy kid listening to that.
A lot of great tracks just for like movies too. Like Neon Demon is a fucking great track.
Everything about this album and all these members combined should have led to something great, but I came out of this feeling just jarred and disappointed.
Yeah. It feels like they recorded... Sorry, Trix.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go ahead and say that I'm gonna rate this album higher than Bag Raiders.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I don't really
what you want.
Crap.
I think it's better than you guys are saying. I gave it for some reason I have like a really weird soft spot for pop music. Like I never seek it out.
With the amount of time that we've had to listen to this album, I have given this album so many listens. I track my music, so I'll fucking see exactly how many times. In total,
I make it a point
from start to finish. Yeah, 5 times.
I make it a point whenever I suggest something to make sure that I own it. So I've listened to this album several times, just trying to get something out of it since I spend my money on it. And I come away realizing that the best track on there is the Lil Wayne remix. brings so much to that song Genius just by being there. I don't understand like how that could happen. Like he's fine, like he's a fine rapper and everything. But like to have someone just come in and decimate the entire album like that is just amazing to me.
Look, Genius, like spoiler alert for Best and Worst tracks, Genius is by far the worst fucking tune on there.
Really?
It's for me it tries so hard to be, because a lot of pop's intention is to be catchy, to get stuck in your head, to start kind of going head bopping, dancing. It's like pop is supposed to be catchy and stuck in your head.
Yeah.
And this tries to be it, and it can get stuck in your head, but you're not just like having any guilty pleasures by having it in your head. You just want to get a lobotomy instead.
I don't know about that. But this Genius is the one song that I remembered. Genius is the one song that I've had with me this whole time, and I kind of like it, mostly because of the Lil Wayne part of it. And I think for a lot of this stuff,
I haven't listened too much to the Lil Wayne remix, so that's probably a lot better.
It's officially a part of the album somehow.
Yeah.
So, like, I like specific parts of some of these songs, but like, it's such a weird thing to say. Like, I like 10 seconds from this song, 10 seconds from that song. Audio has a really cool little bit. I don't know.
I like the chorus to Heaven Can Wait. I think Sia's vocals.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Heaven Can Wait is the best to show off Sia's vocals and maybe the best on the album because of that, but it's hard to really choose.
I feel like they produced a single and then stretched it out over an album.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably entirely possible. And again, this is not a long album. This is, minus the remix, it's 27 minutes.
Again, this is the third week in a row I'm asking this. What is an album? What is an EP?
I don't really think it fucking matters.
BTS and the Middle East were EPs, and they're about as long as LSD.
They're longer than Kids See Ghosts. Kids See Ghosts considers itself an album. I don't really think it matters. I think it's whatever the artist wants to call it. Because what's the difference between a mixtape and an album? It's true.
It's true. It's
I think the only distinction can be given by the artist themselves. I usually, when I do a distinction and a judgmental difference between an EP and an album, I usually go in treating an EP more as a compilation and a short idea of. I mean, you're talking about it in the BTS one. Yes, I did actually listen to it.
Thank you.
And you were talking about obviously how it used to be the size difference between EPs and albums, from 7-inch and 11-inch or 10-inch, whatever the fuck it is. I'm not that much of a vinyl expert. 12. Oh well, I'm bad at this. Anyway, but right now that's completely changed. Most EPs get released on 12 inches anyway.
Oh yeah,
I have enough singles on there which are on a 12-inch. Size doesn't matter anymore, and it's really just the artist interpretation.
Let's be honest, size never mattered.
By the way, have you given your BTS update, Trix?
I have not listened to it again.
All right, well, we'll keep on this.
We tried.
As I listened to it again, I still like it. I liked it more than these albums. Actually, no, I think it might be almost tied with the top one for me.
I think I listened to Hot Flash Sheetwave more this week than I listened to any of the albums other than Rattler.
I put on Hot Flash Heatwave recently again, just on the nostalgia.
Yeah, actually, the CD just came for me today. That was nice.
Yeah.
It came with an ice cream sticker.
I haven't done my rankings yet, but I think I would have put Hot Flash last until this episode.
That's fair.
I still was like nostalgic about listening to it again. It's only been like a month or two.
Honestly, I think I knew the moment. I know this is probably a bad thing to do in an album, because the moment that I knew I was kind of going to get disappointed with this album was definitely in the opener, when it has this kind of "All Eyes on Me" kind of like, sounds like this chorus kind of crier chiming in, and it just drops into bass, and I know it's supposed to sound somewhat like, it's what I call generic experimental, in which it's like, oh yeah, you didn't expect that. You thought it was just going to be general pop, but it's like they just made it dark bass. I've heard that shit all the fucking time, and I do think it's a good opener in the context of the album, because the rest of the album is like that.
Yeah.
But it's a bad opener in which the song just sucks.
It's a bad opener. It's a bad song. It might be one of the worst. It is probably the worst on the album, maybe, for me. Either that or No New Friends. Like, Welcome to Wonderful World is specifically just a terrible song. Just for the way it introduces everything, for the way it introduces it properly, I guess, in that sense, but also just like the things it introduces are not good.
And
like
definitely the most cringe part of it is the announcer at the end. It's "Welcome to the wonderful world of Sia, Labyrinth," and then for some reason it's Diplo.
I was thinking that must be him or something. Yeah, that was like the worst part of the album. The Diplo
there
shouting his name
is
or whatever.
So here is a comparison that I'm going to make that I'm not sure if anyone can expect. Has anyone ever actually listened to the full of Panic at the Disco's "A Fever You Can't Sweat Out"?
Not the whole thing.
I've literally never listened to any Panic at the Disco.
There is a moment in that where Brendan Urie has the lyrics, "When I say shotgun, you say wedding," and then he just goes shotgun, wedding, but there's no, like, it just sounds like he's talking to himself the whole time.
Okay.
And it doesn't come off as, maybe having that song live was much better, because maybe that's what it was made for, but listening to it, a studio version, you don't come out of it just thinking, oh, I got a bit of chills or goosebumps. You just keep going, man, that was fucking cringe.
Oh, yeah.
It stands out with how cringy it is.
Like the whole thing where they try to make LSD happen so much, like the whole LSD,
stop
just
trying
kind of
LSD.
splicing that shit together. Like this is
on
the
this
thing.
Topic. Can I talk about how much the track titles piss me off? That all of them say featuring Sia, Diplo, and Labyrinth instead of Labyrinth, Sia, and Diplo.
Yeah, that's just terrible.
I mean, number one,
oh, yeah.
they are the band. You need to say that they feature all three of them when they are fucking LSD. Two, it's not even correct.
It really does feel like an album to me that is just made to capitalize off their names, because they are all big artists.
Yeah.
And this album hasn't been a commercial failure. It's gotten quite a lot of traction, and there are some people who do enjoy it, but I just hate it. There's, again, you said there are moments on this album that you can come out of just going like, yeah, that was alright, and yeah, I didn't mind that, but doesn't last for a full song.
It's like they had one session together that lasted like 5 or 6 hours, and then they just spliced together everything they could.
Plus, again,
so are you suggesting it's like a Grateful Dead-esque jam band with Labyrinth, Sia, and Diplo?
They recorded all these sounds, and somehow whoever mixed it was like, "All right, we're just gonna throw it all together." It's not even a jam. It's literally just piece by piece sounds mashed together. Let's try a bass here. Let's try a chorus here. Let's try this.
And again, like the album minus the remix, it's 9 songs, 27 minutes, and you wonder how much content they've cut down from to make this album, especially if they've added in a remix. It could just be possibly that they just only had this content and nothing was cut, because it kind of does sound like that. It also, the songs feel a little too overproduced.
Yes,
and it doesn't feel like they've had the kind of care taken into them.
The way that the name of the remix,
interesting, because it was pushed out. It was pushed back.
The songs came out like
I'm on
slowly.
the Wikipedia page.
It was like a year of just singles coming out. But no, the song Genius. The whole title is Genius feat Lil Wayne, Sia, Diplo, and Labyrinth brackets Lil Wayne remix, which means this is the only time in the album that they have LSD in order. Lil Wayne, Sia, Diplo. And Labyrinth is last for whatever reason.
On my version of the song, it says Genius Lil Wayne remix featuring Sia, Diplo, and Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Wow.
On Spotify, it's Genius featuring Sia, Diplo, and Labyrinth. Lil Wayne remix.
The Lil Wayne remix is before for on Google Play.
That's my iTunes, at least.
Again, I think that's really it with this album. There's not much to talk about as well after all this. Like, it's got a bit of bass and it kind of goes all over the place. You got real generic moments which try to be kind of haunting or hypeful, but just end off cringy. No new friends when you just have that constant "no new friends" just coming over, and it's cringy. It doesn't give you chills. It doesn't give you like, oh, that was cool.
I heard apparently that originally it was called No New Friends with a K. Doesn't that make you think? Who knows?
I'm 14 and this is deep.
Shrek, so you're saying
he's
that, like,
okay, he's broken.
So you're saying Thunderclouds was used in an ad campaign for something?
Samsung. That's where I recognized it from.
I'm just gonna go throw out my Samsung because of this album now.
I'm so glad I have a Google Pixel.
I have a Samsung phone.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about this album anymore. Best and worst. Let's go.
Whole album worst.
So you're the one who likes it the most.
It's there's no high points, there's no low points. It's just pop.
You're the one who said you have a soft spot for pop.
I have a soft spot for pop, but that I can enjoy pop, but that doesn't mean I have to admit it's good.
Yes, that's fair. That's fine.
So I believe I believe Trixie said that he enjoys this more than Bag Raiders. I don't think that's supposed to mean that this album is good. I think that's him bagging on Bag Raiders.
Pretty much. I did not like Bag Raiders at all. Nothing clicked.
I'll get to that in a second. I'll just say it again. My top picks are either Genius Remix, or if you want to go based on the strict album, Heaven Can Wait, I guess. Worst, it's easily Welcome to a Wonderful World of, and fucking No New Friends. Because fuck that shit.
Yeah, best on this, and only because her vocals are good in the chorus, is Heaven Can Wait. The worst, everything is shit, but Genius, the original version, it stands out as so fucking bad that it's just my worst by far.
Alright, on to Bag Raiders. I thought Bag Raiders was interesting.
Let me just recollect here. Just this album has destroyed me.
I'll give my spiel.
Got a 60 out of 10 on Metacritic.
The Bag Raiders.
No, the fucking.
LSD.
Still on the.
Oh, apparently, music critics are shit. Oh wait, we knew that.
But Bag Raiders was
it's not Fantano.
2 out of 10.
68 out of 100, right?
All right, Bag Raiders.
I thought it was a kind of interesting album. It's like the first 4 songs are really just generic. They all sound like they're recorded in different studios and different locations, just because they all sound so different from each other, which I like. But it's only once we get to like the 5th song on the album is when the album starts coming together. Like Back to Myself is the first hint of anything cool or interesting. And then we get to Medicine, we get to Lazy, and it starts building and building. And then I'll Be Loving You is one of the high points, and then after that it's fine. That's my take on it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just do the quick intro. So Bag Raiders don't need an introduction for people like, oh, no one's ever not heard of Bag Raiders at this point. Bag Raiders obviously got into popularity in the past couple of years, or resurged thanks to the popular Shooting Stars meme. It has been around actually 9 years since they put out their debut, and this is only their second record. It came out, I think at this point, only 2 weeks ago. So it is pretty much all of our first impressions on this. No one's kind of heard. I've really only heard the singles coming into before this, which probably puts me still ahead of everyone, but and
like 4 or 5 times.
I don't disagree with you when it comes to that. There were some collaborations early on which I was really hyped when I saw it, because I don't know how successful Panama is overseas, but I follow him quite a bit in Australia. He's put out some fantastic tunes, and he's quite a collaborative artist. And How Long, I don't think is a bad tune, but you are right, it doesn't really kind of hit or anything. Wild at Heart, I think I do, with Mickey Kojak, who, again, I've been following a little bit of, but I'm not that well known of.
I was getting shades. Right? Yeah.
But yeah, I agree, it doesn't really kick into Back to Myself.
Like the beat starts kicking, it's like, fuck,
yeah.
Dude.
But yeah, I reckon the opening, the start to this album is quite slow, and there's not much to it, which does really drag this album down quite a lot. But once it does kick in, it is great, and there were a lot of tunes on the back end of this album which I can see myself regularly coming back to, specifically Medicine and Lightning.
Yeah, well, Medicine for sure.
I think Medicine is a great kind of just house track, because it kind of does allow itself to build up and get into that kind of satisfying outro. Again, people who aren't into that more repetitive house style might get quite bored of this track, and that's fair. House is... it's either overly repetitive and annoying, or great. That's why some people love Daft Punk and some people hate them.
I was getting Daft Punk vibes. I was getting Purity Ring vibes, Jamie XX vibes. More than the XX, but kind of the XX as well. But it's kind of all floating in there, especially in the beginning, where it's like I'm trying to find some way to connect to these early songs, you know?
Something I was talking about with Chicks in the last minisode was the collaboration with an artist called the Kite String Tangle. Obviously, I suggested the song at the end of that with Arcadia. Kite String Tangle is probably one of the more artists to look out for. He's released an album, a mini album, and I think a couple EPs. And so far, he hasn't released that big album that I expect him to. But it's always nice hearing him on collaborations like this. I think Lightning is one of the big highlights of this album. Hearing his vocals throughout it is just as heavenly as always.
Going through these again.
Chicks, you want to go start with your criticism stuff?
I'm just gonna say nothing clicked with me. I listened to this album at least half a dozen times. I just couldn't connect with it on any level.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Again, whilst I kind of agree with you both, the back end of this album is definitely the highlight, while the front end is really slow. And ultimately, there is not that much impressive off it.
Do you like
yeah, you go.
I like the idea, or that it seems to be presenting of like, these are all very different songs. They somehow kind of tie together. And we're just going to present them. And like, one sounds more housey, Or Lazy sounds more like an R&B song. I'll Be Loving You is more of a Bee Gees song. It all kind of ties together weirdly enough, even though they're very separate. That's cool, but yeah, it kind of makes an uneven picture overall.
Again, I don't think there's that much unique to this album, especially when you listen to a lot just in the EDM scene. It's not specific to a location here. I think there are some well executed tracks on this album, but nothing's grabbing me as like, that's cool, that's really amazing to hear, or I haven't heard that. There's no real unique sounds in this. I mean, Bag Raiders have never really had a distinct sound, in my opinion.
Nah.
They've always just been a house band, but house, other EDM. But they usually have executed better than most artists in this genre. But yeah, I don't know. I'm somewhat pleased with this album. I don't think there's anything off here that I go like with LSD. I was actually painting when I was hearing some of those songs, not literally, but like mentally. And there's nothing on here that's real controversial like that.
I would agree.
And I can admire LSD trying to be that bit more experimental. Obviously, it's execution and it's a bit more. But
I think running them right after Claypool went in Delirium was kind of also very telling.
Yeah, we go from something real psychedelic to something trying to be psychedelic.
Yeah, like I think the thing is, like, I think I could see some of these songs going into like a rotation of mine, and that's ultimately why I like it more than LSDs, because I think some of these songs are really, really good.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm not quite sure how well it fits just as an album.
It's a weird thing, because to me it's kind of like a journey. Like it kind of begins in like this arcadey kind of soundscape, like you're waking up and it's like the morning and all the stuff's going on around you, all the lights, everything's turning on, and then it kind of ends in like this like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. like miasma in this life, where it's just kind of haunting-ish and kind of you're tired and you need to go home, kind of wistful in a way. And there's a journey in there. And I think that's kind of why I like this whole idea that I have of like it all sounds kind of different, because it's kind of going down some kind of path with all these different things in it. And maybe I'm just projecting too much of what I want this album to be onto the album, and that's totally possible. But it at least gives me a reason to like it more than I think I would otherwise.
I think I've pretty much said all the thoughts I can in like 10 minutes on this album. I'm still not quite sure how I feel about it. The parts I enjoy, but I don't know. It's just there. It's really the only words I can put out. I feel like this is. I was hoping this would be a lot more enjoyable than it was when I suggested this last episode. But I think this is just, in the end, one of those albums that this just there.
Yeah.
It exists.
Glad we covered it, though. I think it's interesting to cover, even though we don't have much to talk about.
Definitely.
Again, it's because Bag Raiders is a big band from Australia, mostly due to the meme of shooting stars, but still.
Now, let's talk about our favorites, least favorites.
I think my favorite has to be Lightning. Medicine is a close second. I think my least favorite would probably be either Lazy or Or I Need You.
Me, I'll probably be putting Medicine, Lazy, and I'll Be Loving You on some kind of track list or something. I don't know what, but I like those three. And then the first 4 songs might as well not even be there for me. I have no interest in them. They're just there. If that's Far Away, I Need You, How Long, and Wild at Heart.
Tricks, you got anything for best and worst?
Again, I don't really know song titles because nothing was clicking.
Again, I'll say before we go into Petite League that I do admire that a band that did shoot out in popularity before they started putting out this out, like recording this album, did decide to do collaborations with lesser known artists from Australia. I think it's like with Troye Sivan doing that. Even if I haven't been too fond of the album, and even if I do put this pretty low into rankings, I will always admire when artists do that. Yeah, that's really it. I'm disappointed that there's not much to talk about, but I guess that's just going to happen.
And everything can be winners. Yeah. Then every episode can be a long, drawn-out discussion about Nutri Milk Hotel. Let's go on to Petite League, the most consistent album of the night, day, whatever time you're listening to it.
I was pretty excited for this one to come out. I was following this one release. I listened to all 3 singles that dropped. The singles that first released was White Knuckle Wildflower. The second one that dropped was New York Girls. And the third one that dropped was Young Bubblegum. And I was listening to these as they came out. I was really enjoying it. I was really hyped up. And the album, I thought, was really good.
I feel somewhat... The sounds on this album, whilst I think pretty cleanly executed, and there's not a song on here that I hate. Nothing interests me that much besides the opener. I thought the opener to this album was perfect. That just straight, "Oh, we kissed" on the lips, just going straight into the rock from there.
Yeah,
I thought that was a great just intro, because this is supposed to be a somewhat fast punk 27-minute. So it's not wasting its time with any guitar intro or slow builds. It just goes straight into it, and I think that was a great opener. I even didn't mind that kind of joke phone call at the end of the song. Not really a joke. Yeah, studio. Like getting those classic voicemails.
Just imagine him recording it on the same tape as his voicemail machine or his voice machine, whatever. It's probably on his phone. Yeah. I like to imagine things like that.
There's an album I'll compare this to. It's Polish Club's debut, in which they had a song on the opener called "Where You Been," which was this incredibly fast, heavy paced 2-minute track, which was one of my favorite songs of the year. It was that great of an opener. But then the rest of the album just could not match up to that pace or to that heaviness, and it all became a letdown. And I feel the same with Petite League.
To me, the opener is a bit different from any other track they've really produced, like as a whole of a band. For the most part, they're more laid-back garage rock than punk.
For me, I think that this album... Go on.
I was going to say, their second album, No Hitter, has just some straight-up surf music on it.
For me, this album, it's similar to LSD, where I like a lot of the sounds, but I really couldn't... I've listened to it half a dozen times at least. I couldn't tell you exactly what happens in every song. It's kind of that's not 50 minutes. It's like a 27-minute tone piece that has 10 movements in it or whatever. It all kind of flows together super well for me, and it's a consistent sound that I liked, but there's nothing in it to really wow me or like, flip my mind or whatever. Like, I'm mostly interested in Lorenzo G. Cook is his name, I think.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He's an interesting fella.
I will say, I love the title for track number 7, LimeWire Virus.
It's like that sounds like it's cool 10 years ago in a way.
Yeah, one of the things he likes to do is he likes to channel early aughties nostalgia.
And I would disagree with the whole you couldn't tell. I mean, with you, obviously, if that's how you feel, I can't say how you feel about it. I do think there's enough memorable moments from the songs in here to remember kind of what happens, at least in most of them.
I think I remember, like, I like some things that happen in Blood Gardens. I like some things in White Knuckle Wildflower, but I don't remember what those things are.
I think the lyrics are "When you wanted me, I've been waiting on you" kind of stuff. I do like the kind of quick contrast sounds that happen in that. I think that was a highlight moment of this album. I felt like moments like "Hang the Cowboy," which are just really slow and kind of dreary. Yeah, it just wasn't doing anything.
Whenever I listen to that song, I get kind of like weird, like like imagery of like I'm in the desert. They're channeling sort of like a country kind of vibe.
To me, that's like their Joker song, "Hang the Cowboy." Like, he sings it real seriously. He just kind of stares at everyone. Like, hang the cowboy, kill the cowboy.
I will say that I bought the vinyl for this album, and it came with this little zine full of hand-drawn things by like his band members and friends. And one of them was a picture of Sheriff Woody from Toy Story being hung like a piñata and being bludgeoned while young bubblegum spews out.
Oh, like it.
So I will say I don't think any aspect of this album is...
All right, Trix, you're the one here who likes Petite League most.
I do.
Can you describe what the aesthetic is beyond just garage rock? Like, I'm trying to piece together Lorenzo and what this is all going for, and just based on the one album alone, I really can't.
It's one of those things that you can't, because every album he chases a different sort of aesthetic entirely. As I said, No Hitter, and even like their first album, Slugger, had more surf rock elements to it. And then their last album, Rips One Into the Night, is darker songs with more heavy hitting metaphors and stuff like that. There's one song about I'm taking away your pocket knife because you're a mean drunk. Whereas this one, it doesn't really feel like it has any of that.
No, it's lighter than that. Like, I get baseball from this. There's a lot of baseball going on here. I get
yes.
They seem to like drinking and that kind of stuff, that kind of culture. Like, I can imagine like the band is the type that will like go into like 5-day-old clothes and just kind of hang out for the day, write songs or whatever, and like, not have the best, self-care, maybe. Like, they're just kind of living life. Almost, I don't know. Like, they remind me of some people that I know around my age, and I know that Lorenzo's like around my age, so I kind of communicate that too into it.
But they're one of those bands where I can't really like define them into a genre.
I was looking at Lorenzo's YouTube page because that's where he posts all the music videos and stuff for Petite League. And it's interesting looking back, and he was kind of like, it was like 2010, he was kind of like dressing like a scene emo punk kid.
How that's kind everybody of was in 2010.
I mean, yeah, mostly anyway. Now he's kind of evolved into, kind of early to mid-20s, like blonde-haired hoodie wearer, you know? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just an interesting change of aesthetic. Like, it's different. Like, I'm still trying to piece him together. I don't know. He's like kind of the focus of the band, and unlike someone like Robert Plant or something, I can't really. There's a black box there, you know. There's still depths to plumb.
Like he writes and records most of the songs himself. I want to say he did guitar, bass, and vocals on pretty much every track of the album, except for I want to say "Infinite Feels Forever."
But this is a fun album.
I mean,
not much to talk about.
I would like to hear more. I am in my investigative mode. I need to hear more. Favorites, least favorites?
Yeah, least favorite track for me. I need to look at the track list. I've listened to the album like 100 times and I can't remember. I'm gonna go with their first single actually, White Knuckle Wildflower. It's a good track, but overall, it's not my favorite.
And what is your favorite?
Favorite, Blood Gardens. I love the bass on Blood Gardens.
I reckon my favorites. I actually do think White Knuckle Wildflower is probably one of the highlights off here, but I think the best is Rattler, the actual opener title track, and the worst is probably Hang the Cowboy.
I think maybe White Knuckle Wildflower, Blood Gardens. I was fine with Hang the Cowboy. The only one I was into like the way he was talking on New York Girls. But that's just probably my least favorite, just out of pure compulsion. I don't know.
I would like to talk about Young Bubblegum for a second, because I think that's the perfect ending track. Like, it's just like this kind of like smoky, hazy song that I think is about losing innocence.
Okay.
Well, this has probably been the shortest episode that we've recorded.
Do you want to expand on that? Like, what about it?
Well, I mean, I've looked. This is the one I've looked at the lyrics for, because I heard one of the lyrics is actually young American bubblegum, sweet for all the summer cum, spelled C-U-M. And when I heard that, I did a double take. And looking into it, there's a bunch of like innuendo into it, like wide eyes can tie a cherry stem, which it kind of reminds me of like the explicit joke that women who can tie a cherry stem with their tongue can give good, amazing blowjobs. Like the joke from.
I'm telling you right now, if your dick got tangled up while getting a blowjob, you would not be enjoying it.
I know, but I'm just saying because they can like use their mouth and tongue. And then there's the whole line with the bubble gum won't taste the same, but as long as the money was good, I don't care.
So I just want to add that if a woman could do that with my shoelace instead and tie it up with her tongue, that would be great, because my shoelace keeps getting untied. Thank you.
I have my boots zip tied.
Probably in episode 6, and I felt like I brought up compulsory heterosexuality a couple times now. And, you know, that's a topic, and I don't always want to bring it up. But this is another album where I was kind of like, okay, yeah, girls, okay, yeah.
I will say not all of his work is like that, though. There's a song off of No Hitter that's one of the lines is our clothes will hit the ground forever, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. It doesn't matter as long as I'm with you.
Like, I really try to not make it an issue because like it's not. It's whatever artists want to write and sing about. That's whatever. But there are times when it's kind of like strangely, just kind of strange. It stands out to me.
There is a song from the band Hockey Dad on their debut album called Two Forever. I'm using this one as an example as to the kind of whole, like, maybe it's not actually about this and we're just reading too much into it. And that song Two Forever, if you didn't really listen to the lyrics too well, and you kind of just notice about how he's singing about someone who's special in their life, you might just think, oh, this is this heterosexual song, because I believe the lead singer was heterosexual, but you know what? There's been enough theories otherwise, so I don't fucking know. But that's neither here or there. But the actual song, despite the kind of whole might sound romantic, is not romantic at all. It is completely platonic. And I put that in as maybe all these times that you do hear. I don't know enough about Petite League's lyrics. I haven't really been looking too much into them.
Either.
But maybe they're not just about heterosexual relationships.
Might not be. But it's like the imagery I get is like, I don't know, baseball, girl, beer. And I feel like there's more to Lorenzo and more to his work than that, which is why, it's kind of like I'm trying to figure out like what's going on, because some of the images I get don't really tie in with what I kind of perceive the sound to be and what, some of the songs are about. So I'm still kind of confused.
I don't think I got any imagery from this album. Again, I think it kind of just existed. I haven't really had much to talk about these albums besides complete hatred for LSD.
We're mostly in agreement on, which I'm like kind of happy about. And again, I apologize for doing that.
You better. I'm starting a war now.
I picked both the best and the worst album so far.
Has anyone got anything else to talk about, or are we just going to go straight into ranking these albums?
Just rank the albums.
I've talked enough about Petite League. You'll hear me talk about more when I bring up one of their other albums, because I have some.
Again, you stretch it out as far as possible here. This episode's only gone for 50 minutes.
Easiest ranking. Fatigue League's first. Consistent sound. I liked it overall. Mag Raiders is second because there were some songs I liked, but parts of it just did not care about. And LSD is dead last. A couple songs that were okay, and just a lot of nothing, and some sounds were cool.
Chuck, I'll let you rank what's I'm still deciding.
Obviously, for me, number one is Petite League.
Yep.
I absolutely love them. I have all their albums except for Slugger on vinyl, and that's because Slugger wasn't released on vinyl, as far as I know. Second for me, actually going to be LSD.
We're not surprised you said it 5,000 times.
Yeah, I connected more with it than I connected with Bag Raiders.
Oh my god, baby, can't you see?
Number 3 is definitely LSD. There's nothing more I can say about that. I feel like this is going to be an illegal move right here.
Oh shit!
But neither two of these albums was I impressed enough, or did I really get much more out of than a couple songs? And I think there are a couple songs of Rattler that I'll probably listen to a couple times, like the title track and White Knuckle Wildflower. But there's also songs of Bag Raiders that I think I'll listen to a couple times, like Medicine and Lightning. But overall, I didn't really enjoy either of them as a full album.
Number 2s across the board there.
Both of them are number 2.
That's okay.
I can't give anyone of them
number one is good. And
number 1 is good. Yeah.
Number 1's BTS.
Again, that's just the problem with those the two is I enjoyed them both more than LSD. so I can rank them above that. But I don't enjoy either one of them above the other, or it's not much more for me to rank. I don't think there's much I can say about either album except that they exist.
We'll say
if I can't say much about them, I can't really compare them more. I can compare them against something that I absolutely hate, and if I feel like if there was any other album than LSD, that would be number one.
I'll say I think Rattle is the best of like the lo-fi we've heard so far for me. Better than Hot Flash, better than Adult Mom.
If I had to absolutely rank, because at some point I will, and this could completely change, and Tricks you can just go celebrate later, I would give it to Petite League just because of its consistency. That's if I absolutely have to rank.
I think we can all agree that the real number one was the Dill Mustard.
The real number one was the friends I made along the way.
Dill Mustard, I'm eating off the back of my hand.
Hey, you're supposed to drink that, aren't you? You said you would.
Oh, yeah. I've been, like, legit just putting it on my hand and licking it off, but... See if the Walmart will pick this up. Yeah, I'm in a Walmart parking lot eating mustard right now.
Can we all agree that this was a pretty disappointing week?
Yeah.
Had to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a lost episode that will be publicly fundable.
Ooh. Mustard.
Were the too many episodes worth build up? Maybe, maybe not. But
yeah, we'll just spend the next 30 minutes listening to Tricks just eat mustard.
Anyway, next episode.
We need to pan it out to an hour and a half somehow.
We really don't. We really don't.
No, we don't.
Sure, Tricks, you still got a bottle of mustard there.
I just took a sip.
What albums we're picking next time. Just picking mustard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mustard. I'm picking ketchup.
I'm gonna pick some Cajun mustard, and maybe a bottle of Frank's Red Hot.
Remember how last episode that we filled up like 10 minutes about talking about Scott Adams?
Talking about wanting to fuck Jeff Mangum? Jesus Christ.
That was only for like 3 minutes. Which is coincidentally how long I'll last with him. Wink.
I don't want to creep out our nice listeners, all 5 of them.
This is a Christian show.
He's not here.
Oh my god.
No, it's too busy at the climate strike. Plus damage. Or climate change, whatever it is. So it's a blessed
my coworker Christian.
Blessed.
Anyway.
Albums next week. Let's actually get into them. Who goes first?
I'll go. My album for next week is Sneaker Waves by Tristan Gaspaderic, or just Tristan. It split up her albums with Google Play and Spotify.
Right. Was that the one that was into Waterworld? Or was that Taco Cat?
No, that was the week after next. Taco.
We're not going to announce that now. I was just asking if that's Waterworld Band.
No, that's not Waterworld Band.
Right, Shrek, or you did that. Ritalin.
I am picking. Hold on, just doing some casual adding to playlists here. I am adding what was voted in as number 1 in the Triple J albums poll of 2016, Violent Soho's Waco.
All right. And I'm kicking off a 2 to 3 week little journey odyssey of sorts by choosing the band Health, their debut album, also called Health, otherwise known as You Will Love Each Other. So get ready for some noise thrash.
Oh boy.
Is it better than fucking LSD?
Think so. You tell me.
We'll be
I haven't listened to it yet. How am I supposed to tell you?
I don't know, maybe you know them already. Who knows? Anyway, that's gonna do it for us. We're not gonna drag this out anymore. Everyone say their goodbyes and their plugs.
Sure, we could probably bag on LSD for a couple more hours.
Well, first, I'd like to announce that we have an official Dissonant Waves Twitter account now. At Dissonant Waves, we got the original.
No one else wanted it.
Pretty much.
I cry.
Here
my Twitter, as always, is DACICHOCKI. I have opinions on various places on the internet as well. It's also windmillstudios.com. I am also now writing on Medium, so you can probably find me there too.
I want to see how fast I can do this. I'm Riddle for Kids. I have a website, riddleforkids.github.io. I just released a project. It was Density Plains. I just updated it on my YouTube. You can catch me on my YouTube, which will be in the description below. If you haven't watched it, don't even fucking bother. I don't even give a shit about you. Trix, you go.
Okay, I've been Trix. You can catch me at Procrastinaut on Twitter. That's procrastinating astronaut with an underscore at the end. I'm currently in the process of setting up a bunch of stuff. I'll keep posted on that. And I guess that's everything, guys.
We did it again.
I hate LSD. It's a shit album.
We have an album we can all hate together, mostly.
See you next week, guys.